Hi, welcome to WarHQ. My name is Lucius. Today what we'll be going through is part 2 of this Hedonites of Slaanesh build. It's been a little while since the last video, probably about a month, but these things take a lot of paint. Hey, like this is a full Age of Sigmar army I'm attempting here, so what you're seeing in front of you is pretty much the army that I've painted so far. Like I have more models. There's a few new additions since last time that I did this. I've bought a couple of other things, but what we have in front of us is what I've managed to paint in this time. So I'm going to go through the actual army itself, show you some of the painting, describe some of my gaming experiences that I've had with these guys. I've had a lot of test games now compared to when I first put them together. And yeah, we'll see how we go, hey? So, but for now, if you'd like to, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that. It only takes you a second. It means a lot to us. Love to have you as part of the team and to continue to bring you content as per required and as per usual. But until then, let's get started. So what we're looking at first is the troop types, so just your normal troops. What I've got in front of us here is 5 Seekers. Now I have another 5 that aren't painted. I have 3 Fiends, that's all I've got of that, and I've got 20 Demonettes, and I have another 10 that in process of being painted at the moment. So this is the troop sections at the moment. Now, these 3 troop types are pretty tried and true. Demonettes, I mean, you can't go wrong with. I've had heaps of really good success. They look in big groups, like of 20 to 40. They're really powerful. You can crush some scum with them. I find, obviously, you want to have them in combination with a leader so that the leader can make your opponent that you charge attack last, which is very important for these guys, because if they get attacked first, they tend to get cut down pretty easily. They've only got a save of 5, sorry, and they're very easy to kill. So if they do manage to get off first with their 2 attacks, -1 rend, they are actually quite good. They can kick some ass. Big time. So, things to think about when you're running them into combat is to put a, mystic shield or something on them, give them an extra bonus to their saving throw is always good, or anything that increases their chances of hitting, always good. But yeah, Demonettes, look, they're a mainstay of this force. They're like the main troop type, and it's for a reason. They're cheap. They did get nerfed a little bit, points costs recently in the General's Handbook 2020. But so did the rest of the army. The one thing that didn't get nerfed, though, is the Fiends. They actually went down in points, and not a lot of people use these, but I find them really good. They have their purpose, and when that purpose can be initiated, they can be really good. You can take down heroes with them. You can take down big wound models. They do tend to suffer against volume of attacks and shooting. They get flayed. Because again, they just don't have the saving throw to back it up. I mean, they got 4 wounds each, but that soon dwindles away against anything with lots of attacks, or multiple damage attacks. So, but they have a really big punch, and they are really good fighters. Expensive still, but I think with the drop in price, they might be seen a little bit more. I like them personally, but it's a mixed bag. People are either into them or they're not, and the Seekers being my 3rd troop option here, I've got 2 units of 5. Now, I don't see the point of having a larger unit in this, because I don't generally use these guys for fighting unless I can get them behind enemy lines and attack something squishy, like a hero or some sort of artillery piece or something. That's what you want to aim these guys at, or just objectives. So the 2 units of Seekers I have, I primarily use just for objective hunting and taking out people on the flanks or in the rear if you can get around there, which they can, because they've got insane movement. Probably one of the fastest units in the game, with a 14-inch base, and then you can also use Quicksilver Speed, which is basically you can roll a 2d6 to run, and you can run and charge. So the amount of movement you can get out of these guys is second to none, really. So the Seekers themselves are really good, but don't expect them to be, toe-to-toe with the enemy and doing pretty well. I tend to find they die pretty quickly. I mean, against weaker things, and as I said, like 5 wound heroes or something, you can pretty easily mince them. But other than that, I wouldn't go relying on them as some sort of offensive punch in your force or something. They're more of a flanking backup unit. They're not a toe-to-toe combat unit like the Demonettes. You know what I mean? Demonettes have got the numbers and the wounds to be able to take the damage that you want them to take in this army. So there's a look at my troop choices here. Remember, I've got another five Seekers, another 10 Demonettes to do. I'll probably, to expand this again for summoning, I'll probably get another 20 Demonettes, I think, as summonable units. And I think that'll round out my troop choices. Arrayed before you are the current leaders I have within this force, so the Hedonites of Slaanesh, and I've pretty much painted all of them. Just finished the epitome, and I'm pretty happy with that one. I think it looks pretty swish. Stands out, and it looks very colourful. Now, on top of this, I also have a Keeper of Secrets, which I have managed to get after this month. It's a bit of a big buy in Australia. Like, I think in Games Workshop they retail for like 240 or something. So I did get it through another supplier for 194, which is the cheapest I could find it anywhere with postage to where I live. So yeah, I've got a Keeper of Secrets. I've just got to put it together. So and then I'll be able to use it in this force. But other than that, these are the 4 main heroes that I have. Now let's have a look at this. The Bladebringer on Exalted Chariot is a very interesting model. It's this one was a real labour of love to put together and paint. It took me ages, hey. I'm quite happy with how it came out. I used a bit of blood for the blood gods splattered everywhere for people who've been mowed down by this thing. Really fun model. Really frustrating to put together. Like, I don't know, yeah, I'm sure. Let me know down below if anyone's put one together. They're pretty crazy. But excellent model, hey. Like, it's a magician, it's got 1 spell. Acquiescence is a really good spell with a 5 to cast. You can pretty much re-roll hit rolls of 1 for, you know, any unit that you target with it, which is handy. The blades do bucket loads of mortal wounds. They do mortal wounds on the charge. They do mortal wounds in the combat phase. And then you've just got so many attacks. It's not funny. Like, so I've used this quite successfully a lot of times. I think my best thing was I totally butchered a unit of Marauders with this thing in 1 turn, and it was just hideous. Like, just the amount of wounds that I did. Look, like the rest of the models in this force, it is a bit brittle. It does have a 4+ save, which is a little bit better than pretty much everything else, which does make it a little bit hardier, but look, it does die. Once you start putting mortal wounds on this thing and buckets of dice, it does go down. So you want it to be, you know, making the enemy attack last. Sometimes it's a leader model, so you can do that, and just supporting and, you know, doing big sweeping assaults into people with it. It's quite cool. This backed up with you know, good unit of Demonettes, can really kick some ass. Second hero I was going to talk about was the Mask. Now, the Mask I didn't have originally in this first part of this series, but it's a model I picked up just because I wanted another leader, and that's all I could get at the time. I have pretty limited options where I am, so I just found it at a shop. Really happy with how this one's painted. Yeah, it came up quite good, and it maybe mix the green theme into the team as well. So the Mask itself is you know, it's pretty good for a 5-wound hero. It's pretty tough, really. 6 attacks. I mean, you can. I like one thing I like is at the beginning of the turn, you know, in the hero phase, you can either add D3 attacks to it, or you can heal D3 wounds to it, which is really handy. Another good thing about it is that it pretty much negates all wounds and mortal wounds on a 4+. So you've got a 50-50 of avoiding every wound you take as well. You can run and charge like everything else, which is really handy. Yeah, and it's just, look, all around, lots of attacks. You know, this is a good one if you can get it around. It's quite fast with a base move of 10, you know, and you can run and charge and stuff. So another good one for supporting the battle line. And remember that this model as well can, you know, give the bonuses for, you know, enemy attacking last as well. So all in all, it's an okay choice. It's probably not, you know, it's probably the weakest of the heroes, I would say, out of the ones I've got here. But it's not bad. It's not the worst, hey? Like out of the other options, it's pretty good in general. It's not a magic user or anything, which is a bit of a letdown, but that's okay. Does its job, does it well. It's fairly survivable. You know, you can sort of try and bring it back to life, and it's got that natural shrug as well, a 4+, which is really powerful. So the Mask is pretty cool. The Infernal and Rapturous. Yeah, this is the first hero I painted. I'm not 100%. I might change the harp a little bit. The silver kind of blends in with other colours on it, on the actual harp itself. So I might make it stand out, give it like a metallic colour. You know what I mean, like a green or something. Make it stand out a little bit more. It's a model that doesn't stand out of these ones. And I'm really just trying to, with the paint scheme I've got here, is just to pop it, like, you know, with the whips and stuff I have. You know, really dynamic colours I've been choosing with this. But, you know, Infernal and Rapturous is another solid model. You know, you can shoot. It's got, you know, like either like a hero killer shot, or it's got a, you know, you can kill just troops. Both shots are pretty good. You don't want to miss, obviously. Hand-to-hand combat, it completely sucks. You don't want to get it there. You know what I mean? It's only just better than a normal one demonette, so you really don't want to get it into hand-to-hand combat at all if you can avoid that. It's good against magic users. So like any magic users within 24 have to re-roll their successful casting rolls, which is really strong. And you can dispel one spell with this. So having it up close in the battle line or near enemy wizards is handy because they have to re-roll all their successes, which is just like, you doing a dispel anyway for free. So I really like that about it. All in all, pretty solid leader choice in the Hedonites of Slaanesh army. I think the standout one, though, is the Contorted Epitome. I think this is my favourite hero model at the moment, besides the Keeper of Secrets, which I'm getting and obviously is very powerful. But with the Contorted Epitome, really good movement. It's got 2 spells, can unbind 2 spells. I really like the Gift of Power ability. So basically, I can reroll all the casting I do with it, which is 2 spells a turn, which is super handy, and unbinding and dispels. So that is super strong. You reroll any failed thing that you do. So you've got 2 chances of succeeding in any sort of magical ability that you want to do, which is really powerful in my opinion. Now, it's got the Horrible Fascination, which is super awesome. Enemy units within 6, you can pretty much on a 4+ that unit fights at the end of the player's turn. So you're getting that for free basically there with its ability, which is really powerful. And Swallow Energy as well. This is another good thing. Is mortal wounds that are directed at this model are pretty much shrugged on a 2+, which is super powerful. So the only way to really kill this model is to get in there and do normal hits on it. So someone has to engage it in hand-to-hand combat or shooting, obviously. So I've found with my playing that is really powerful. It's a really good option, and it does, it does save you a lot of times. I remember there's a Demon Prince. It's got that mortal wound giving sword or whatever it's got, and it was just railing on this thing, and I was just pretty much saving everything with that 2-up shrug. So it did make it last another turn or 2, which is pretty good. Other than that, it's not too bad in hand-to-hand combat. The coiled tentacles, do multiple damage. They've got 2. They've got a bit of a range on them. Demonettes, you've got 2 heralds there, so it's not the worst thing in hand-to-hand combat. Obviously, I wouldn't suggest getting it in there, even though it does have 7 wounds, which is a bit more than the others, and that shrug really helps as well. But these combined with the Keeper of Secrets are pretty much my leader options at the moment. So there you have part 2 of this Hedonites of Slaanesh build for the army. A couple of thoughts there. Look, my main opponent, I've been very limited, obviously, with the restrictions we have at the moment on opponents. So I've really only been mainly playing against Slaves to Darkness. One thing I find with this army against Slaves to Darkness is maneuverability. This thing just walks all over Slaves to Darkness with how far it can move. They're quite slow. But beyond that, it does have a little bit of trouble with really tough units like the Chaos Knights and the Chaos Warriors are quite hard nuts to crack. Especially when they can, in groups of over 10, the warriors can reroll saving throws, which is really hard to come at when they've taken 2 saving throws a turn. It does make it quite hard to get through and to be successful with these guys. But I think I seem to continue winning in the last few turns, and I do that by being able to summon new units back on the table. Normally by that time I've lost units of Seekers, I've lost units of Demonettes, so I just summon those back on and grab objectives. And save those depravity points for for turn 3 and 4, and I usually win the game that way by just sheer attrition, basically, just grinding down the enemy until there's nothing left of their force, and then you're pretty much in the same state, but then you just bring it all back. So it's a really rude awakening for them, and I think that's how this army is intended to be played. I believe. If you played a different way, let me know. But yeah, I've been mixing around with different force types and stuff. Between God Seekers and also mixing it with your normal one too. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think when I get the Keeper of Secrets, I'll be able to use Pretenders and try around with that and give that a bit of a go, see how we go. Yeah, this is the army so far. Hope you like it. Yeah, if you like Hedonites of Slaanesh, please comment down below. Tell me what you've got, how you've collected it. Any suggestions for my force? I mean, as I said before, I've got this. I've got another 5 Seekers, I've got another 10 Demonettes, and I've got the Keeper of Secrets as well. So I've got a 2,000 point list, especially with battalions. So it's a good start. Next, I don't know, as I said, I think if I was going to add on, I'd probably get another 20 demonettes so I can summon them and have enough to be able to do so at any time. So most of those wouldn't be on the board, at the beginning. They're just things I'd be summoning on later. I will have 5 heroes once I've got the Keeper. Probably another one, maybe a Herald or something, just up my sleeve isn't a bad idea as well. Just a cheap one in case I'm gonna, all my leaders are dead for some reason. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for your time. My name's Lucius, and I am signing out.